Hi, this is Supreet here. For people who are new here, I am a mindset coach and a trained hypnotherapist. And through these videos, I'm trying to help people um, go through their journey of transformation, just like I did. I started about 5 years back. And in this video, I'm going to be covering um, primarily a very important topic, which is related to how to calm yourself down, how to visualize better, because any transformation requires visualization, trying to understand yourself. In fact, uh, most transformations require you to do meditation. But what is meditation? Meditation essentially is to understand oneself from inside, right? And if someone were to meditate, what are the things that are required? Okay, so the common myth about meditation is that you need to clear your mind. Unfortunately, that's not practically possible, at least not for the mere mortals. So, what are the ways, practical ways in which you can approach meditation or any exercise that requires you to go inside and kind of understand yourself better? So, in my experience, I've kind of come up with two practical approaches. The first one is still a little bit theoretical according to me. The second one is the most practical one. So I'll be covering the first one first. So the first approach is to focus on your breathing, right? So you close your eyes, probably you do a countdown. Most people do a countdown. Maybe some people do countdown from 100 to 1, some people do 50 to 1, 25 to 1, 10 to 1, whatever works for you, right? So the thing about meditation is there are no hard and fast rules. That's the first number one rule, right? There are no hard and fast rules. So this is the most recommended approach, or I would say the most recommended practical approach is not to try to clear your mind, which is typically not possible, especially since we are in such a trigger heavy environment most of the time. So it's kind of very difficult to kind of clear your mind up and sit in one place for 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever time you spend on your meditation. So, but the key is to kind of focus on your breathing, like breathe in, breathe out. So you just focus on your breathing, and what it does in practice is basically it takes your mind off anything else that you're thinking or you might have experienced during your day or the previous day, and you're instead focusing on your breathing. And you do this for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever time you can spend. But the most practical recommended time for meditation is when you wake up in the morning or just before you go to sleep. And the third best time is, just after your lunch or when you start feeling drowsy in the afternoon, right? So these are the recommended times, and this is the first technique that I talked about. The second technique is something that I felt always worked for me, and that is something which I've been practicing over the last probably a year or so, and it kind of works even when I'm feeling spacey, when I'm in a hyper state, or even when I'm very angry, right? It has an effect to calm me down much faster than the first technique. So what's the second technique? So the second technique involves you to kind of not try to push away the thoughts that are coming in your mind. There'll be hundreds and hundreds of thoughts that will come once you try to sit yourself down and try to calm yourself. So how do you how do you reduce those thoughts and eventually get rid of them altogether, right? The the approach is, first you sit down, you do a countdown, maybe 10 to 1, and then once you finish the countdown, immediately thoughts start pouring in, depending on your state of mind before you started the meditation. So what do you do then? So at that point, the recommended thing, from at least the thing that has worked most of the times for me, is accept the thought, right? So in our life, if you observe, whatever you resist kind of persists and becomes more, in fact. So what you do in that scenario is you just accept it. Like, you get a thought, you accept the thought and let it be, right? So you kind of drain its energy out, and hence that thought naturally dies down and eventually goes into oblivion. So do the same. If another thought comes, do the same. So this will be very tough to do in your first meditation, then second, third. So you will struggle with it, but believe me, by the time you are into your fourth or fifth meditation, all these thoughts would kind of go away in the first 2 minutes or 3 minutes, right? And then you have an empty cup, and then you can start filling it up with your meditative energy, right? And it'll become more about your internal self than about those thoughts, right? So this is a technique that has worked for me, and I feel this is one of the most practical approaches, and I got it from one of the YouTubers, and I felt at first that this is something that will not work, but I tried it, I persisted, and the result is now I'm able to meditate much better. Even if I'm meditating for an hour, after the first few minutes, I'm kind of pretty much having a very blank slate of mind or an empty cup, and then I can kind of fill it up with my meditative energy or findings about myself, right? So with this, I conclude this video. I thought this is important because a lot of people have been asking me, how do I meditate when my mind is in highly excited state? So thanks for staying so long, and the activity I would leave you with naturally is try to meditate using the second technique that I brought up here. If that works for you, brilliant, well and good. Let me know your observations. Have a good day. Thanks. Bye.